What's poppin', y'all? Yo, these stands on both Kendrick Lamar and Drake are trying to gaslight us. They're trying to rewrite history on both sides, and I'm just not going to allow it to happen. So recently, there was a podcast done by Punch of TDE with Joe Budden. And Joe Budden, not too favorable towards Drake. He loves Drake music, but on a personal level, he definitely doesn't like Drake. And in this interview, a bunch of talk happens. They do a little bit of gaslighting, saying like, nah, it wasn't anything personal. Kendrick doesn't hate the guy. Yeah, Kendrick is a hater of the guy. Drake is the one that never had a problem with him. Not a personal problem, at least. But when this gets weird is when Akademiks starts defending the lawsuit. And first off, it starts with this rewriting of history.
Trolls are like, Drake is a PDF. They have abandoned that thought, and now they're saying, but he sued though. Huh? Chat, they have no more leg to stand on. That's what I told you. Stall them out. Everybody a year ago, they were talking about, well, isn't it weird that he kissed a girl on stage and she was 17? Isn't it weird that he texted, what did he say? I can't remember their names. Isn't it weird, like, yo, yeah, he probably is like a PDF. That's what they're always saying. They've abandoned that thought. The only thing they got right now is, man, we can't support guys like filing lawsuits. No. It's a lawsuit. No, f that. No, it's a lawsuit. The lawsuit, why we're mad. We're mad because of the lawsuit.
So with the PDF stuff, he's speaking facts. And I even tweeted this. And I said the following. Nobody who called Drake a PDF should be listening to Iceman. We have a real PDF and that alleged murder that is charged and going to be facing trial right now, David, the music artist. And we are so collectively disgusted and disturbed that we find it impossible to listen to the guy's music. I mean, I like the guy's music. I've listened to like one project that I enjoyed. I didn't know anything about him, and I can't even listen to it. And I'm the guy that says like, yeah, I'll separate the art from the artist. But this thing is so intertwined that I'm just like, yeah, I can't play this. The majority of his collaborators have also taken down their songs with him. So if you genuinely thought that Drake was a PDF, which people online claim that they did, and these people that Akademiks is reviewing the interview with, I'm pretty sure they were leaning towards that. I don't know if they believed it in their heart, but they were putting that message out for other people to believe it, which is even more nefarious, because if you don't believe that he's that in your heart and you're pushing it out there, then that's really evil. However, if you believe it and you're pushing it out there, that's fine. You're allowed to believe that, but you're not going to support him by listening to his music, are you? By contributing to what he has to say now, are you? I sure hope not. And I said they did when the beef was at its peak, then you are humiliating yourself by even listening to any of the material that he puts out, let alone trying to give a review or opinion on it. You should be silent or be chastising people for listening to what you believe is a PDF. Those are your only options. That's exactly like when Fantano was saying like, yo, I'm not reviewing Ye because of all this stuff that he said. And he stood on it. So I don't even think he reviewed Bully. So, okay. Now, the only thing that's fair. That's actually in line with what he said. But if he starts reviewing Ye again, it's like, wait, hold on. What happened? And he should be chastising people that he believes are evil for co-signing Ye by listening to his new music, which, I don't know, maybe he believes that it leads him to have these erratic outbursts because he knows that he can always come back. So that's a consistent position. And then people try to gaslight and say, come on, man, like, we're not going to pretend that people actually believe that. What? And I said, yes, they did. And they were putting together compilations. Like I refuse to be gaslit on this. And all of that stuff is still on Twitter. Go to X. If you don't believe this, go to the dates between the beef, the Not Like Us dropping, and 6 months later, even a year later, and just type Drake PDF, something like that in the search bar, and you're going to see hundreds of tweets. Like the proof is there, and they're trying to tell us like, nah, it wasn't like that. It was like that. And you can see in the replies to the tweet too. They're like, yo, my daughter came asking me, is he really like that? And it's not, and I'm not saying people reciting the lyrics to the song or joking about it. No, people were trying to push that narrative like it was real. It's also like when people tried to push the narrative that Akademiks was into little boys. Like I said, that's really weird that he was having that conversation. He should have not been having that conversation. He should have known better than to even be in a call with a kid. But for me to say that, oh yeah, Akademiks likes little boys or boys in general, that's wild. But people were doing that as well. Now, hold on. The reason why he came at these guys is because they abandoned the whole PDF stuff, Punch and them. But now they're going to the lawsuit. And this is where Akademiks goes crazy out of line. And I can't be defending this.
It's a cardinal sin to sue your record label when all the biggest and most important artists. Now, granted, I will still say I'm not a fan of the lawsuit, but to act like suing your label is tantamount to like snitching or some as he said, cardinal rule is wild. Being in litigation with your label, whether it be over your contract, over auditing, we do realize that Lil Wayne sued his label. Lil Wayne literally sued his label for $51 million. Is Lil Wayne some type of because he did that? Or he felt they owed him some? But again, this is West Coast logic. There is no logic on the West Coast. I've got to keep it a bean.
I get it. Cam ain't tripping. Gilly not tripping. You not tripping. That. I'm tripping. Cuz wrong, foul, and dirty for that. Hip-hop put you on. The nigga that put you on is a hip-hop.
So what about saying that, well, Birdman put you on, Lil Wayne. Why would you sue for $51 million? Why say that? Why not say that to Kanye when he went through litigation as well? Why not say that to Jay-Z when Jay-Z went through litigation as well with his label? No matter what they sued for or what they try to audit that then turn into some arbitration or lawsuits, yes, people get into legal situations with their label. Now,
how the hell is he going to compare? Oh yeah, Lil Wayne sued his label. Oh yeah, Jay-Z was in a lawsuit for his label. Are we dead serious right now? Drake sued because he lost a battle. Lil Wayne sued because he was owed $50 million. The reason for suing matters. And he's just addressing Glasses Malone here, who is vehemently anti-Drake. But it doesn't matter if he's anti-Drake if he's correct in this point. The lawsuit was a sucker move, especially in regards to hip-hop. And Drake, as much as he loves hip-hop and as much as Akademiks loves hip-hop, you cannot say that that wasn't a sucker move. Because you were just suing for, what did he sue for? The reason he sued was because he felt that the label was amplifying slanderous claims towards Drake. It wasn't because, oh yeah, the label took money from my budget and they gave it to Kendrick or something like that. So Akademiks here trying to compare it to Birdman. Birdman stole money. Nobody has ever said, yo, you're wrong for suing the record label for money that you're owed. And these are all of the lawsuits that happened. They're money related. This is not money related. This specific lawsuit was, and it got dismissed. I don't know what the progress with that is if they try to do it again. And I've said this, like I said, the Drake PDF stuff is whack. Like people trying to throw that narrative on him. And I will be listening to Iceman. But the lawsuit thing is the most sucker move that we have seen arguably ever. Like you lose a beef and then you sue your label, and then Akademiks is trying to run interference for his mans now, Drake, when Iceman is coming out, when he had the same take back in October when the lawsuit got dismissed.
This was always a weak lawsuit from the get-go. I like Drake. This is a weak lawsuit. It's a weak lawsuit in the fact that, again, if you listen to diss music, I don't like that there was a false allegation put against my guy. It was false. But such is the case with hip-hop. People call people R words. People say really nasty things about each other. So the idea of suing the publisher, and I kind of look at it like in a media sense, you're suing the publisher, which, at first he was going at DSP's radio and UMG. They would be the publishers of said material. I thought he should have sued Kendrick Lamar. Now, what do I think about the decision? I think this was going to be a landmark precedent case. And I'll give you an example. I just went to federal court, and Meg Thee Stallion and them, they got me in federal court. And during my deposition, they asked me a question. They said, yo, how'd you get this DNA report that you tweeted? My exact answer was, I wouldn't tell y'all even if I knew. Then I said, I don't recall. In the hearing that I went before the judge, shout out to my man Brendan Day, the Honorable Judge Brendan Day, he pointed out that while making his ruling on the order, which if you don't know his ruling is that I'm going to sit for another short deposition, but they can't ask about Drake's steak and Nicki and other stuff. They got to keep it to this one particular subject or follow-up questions regarding it. But I'll tell you why I told you that. I told you that because this becomes landmark situations. In the motion with me, the judge made it very clear. He actually went on like a 5-minute soliloquy saying, hey, Mr. Allen, what we have here in New Jersey is called a shield law that protects journalists and media companies. He says, hey, listen, I'm not making a decision that will be...
So here, he's saying that in the beginning, he was against it, but he softened it up and said, oh, I'm not a fan of the lawsuit, but, because he specifically said initially, this harms everything. This harms diss tracks, diss music, murder music that he's a fan of. This harms the entire integrity of the genre and the freedom of speech within the genre too. So now you can say, well, this record label amplified the message of my son Tuka being killed, and these songs have collectively generated tens of millions of dollars. And all the songs that said F Tuka, a lot of money. Talk about King Von, most of his career, damn near all of his career, and a large portion of Durk's career, and a bunch of Chief Keef's early hits. So should she be able to sue as well? And we're just trying to brush it off and run defense for Drake like, he's just suing his label. Labels always get into lawsuits. No, they don't. This was a whack move. This is up there. This cannot be, I don't mind if it's forgotten, if it got dismissed, but to try to put it in the same level of people that are suing over contract disputes, that's not the case. And that's the irritating thing where Drake stands at times. They will just defend any single, and like Drake stands, I expect that behavior from them. It doesn't frustrate me at all. It doesn't annoy me at all. But when Akademiks is trying to switch him on his own position and be like, it's just a lawsuit because he doesn't like these guys these guys don't like him as well. They were probably one of the people that were pushing that narrative against him when he was going through his major controversy. But it's just unfair. Like, you can't defend your mans at this. Like, I know he's trying to get the Drake collaboration, the phone call. He's trying to get the phone call from his idol, Drake, who claims that he's his right hand. But you can't. Like, seriously. The lawsuit, dude, the lawsuit was whack. It goes against everything within hip-hop, which is like, we beefed. It's over. It doesn't matter what it does matter. You could have your own personal issues even after the beef. But to sue over lyrics, the biggest point that everyone keeps fighting over is like, they're using lyrics in court to indict people, which isn't all the way true. But we're all against that. We're like, you can't just take someone's lyrics that have no connection to any crime and then use that to prosecute them. We're all against that. But Kendrick Lamar drops some lyrics, destroys Drake. And the point is, Drake would not have sued had he won the beef. And that's the point. So with these monetary things, right, like if the record labels that these people that he's talking about, whether it's Lil Wayne or all these other people, had they been paid the amount of money, then they wouldn't have sued. And a lot of them end up settling for a certain amount of money. But it's all monetary, like I said earlier. It's not the same as Drake's lawsuit. Drake's lawsuit is one of a kind. We had never seen anything like it. We had never seen, imagine Jay-Z suing after Ether. We would have called him the biggest sucker ever. But that didn't happen because Jay-Z's a real one. But yeah, man, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one.